The kids are asleep. Let's toast a nice beverage. Let's predict futures with hopes we can leverage. Look ahead at the pastimes we share with our kin, the battles we'll face, and the games we might win. Cheers to your next year with all the luck of a clover. Know that becoming a dad does not mean game over. Welcome, everybody.
So good. Hold on. Once again, I didn't expect two.
Yeah. You gotta have one for each of these holiday episodes.
I mean, Trevor's surprising even me, listeners out there, with these new poems out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Hidden talent. Okay.
Everybody, welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Episode 2 of 2 from our special holiday series. The gaming dads here are taking a holiday break, but we wanted to make sure we record a couple things to join you in coming into the brand new year. Last holiday episode, we looked at the year that was. So the previous year, what did it look like from a gaming dad perspective? Both how your kids and your household were gaming. How did you do as a gaming dad? And hoping by the time you're hearing this, we've heard some really great stories. Definitely reaching out to you, and that's a really great place to start. As we mentioned on the other one, and we'll never be able to say this enough, everybody who has been with us, who's subscribed, who has listened, who has written it into us, thank you. Like, Jeff and I are just a couple regular gaming dads, and to have any degree of folks who would spend their time to listen to us is unbelievably heartwarming. So from them, super sincerely, everybody who has been with us here for now, thank you very much.
Yeah, I will reiterate all that because it's just something that I look forward to every week, and I look forward to talking with you about gaming and dadding, and hearing from our fans and the audience at large and what stories they have to tell. So yes, thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you are just tuning in, we'd really appreciate if you hop on any of the podcasting networks, Google, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere else where you get your podcast. Just search for New Dad Gaming. Subscription, a rating, and a comment helps greatly with the show. We'd love to hear from you at New Dad Gaming on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, wherever you find it, and newdadgaming.com. But now we turn our gaming dad focus to the year that will be.
Yes.
So it is about hope. It's about promise. It's about it is unlike Scrooge and the terrible future that would be for him. Our future is darn bright. So as you come around to this, like, is gaming, that's an interesting way to start. This would be kind of a left field question, so I apologize.
Okay.
But does gaming enter into the mix? Because usually you come to this time of year and it's like, okay, how did last year go? What would I like to do different this year? I'd like to spend more time outdoors. I'd like to go for walks. I want to make sure I spend more time studying or reading. There's usually some like degree of hope and like, right. Hope springs eternal every like kind of new year. Does gaming ever enter into that mix for you specifically, or is it more kind of on the periphery for what you might want to do?
So it's funny when you mentioned that. Again, left field question. So I wasn't prepped on this. I am thinking on my feet. But before I got on the show, the Steam sale started, right? So the Steam winter sale.
I almost spit out my drink.
Just started, okay?
Yeah.
So you see where I'm going with this? Like, I have a wish list
sir.
of stuff. I think everybody has a wish list. They're like, hey, look at all the games. And I honestly look at them and I'm like, okay, what have I played this year? And what can I actually, what did I actually like? And what can I take forward to next year? Because
nice.
I'll buy this and I won't probably get the time to play it until 2024. So, and then that's when I go through and kind of reflect, like, what actually do I like? Because I like these enough to put them on my wish list, but am I actually going to play them? I'm not sure, right? So I had to go through. And so that's funny that you asked that question because that's where my mind went. I'm like, yes, I think I kind of do, just in like this Steam capitalist way with the wish list.
Yeah, the Steam stuff, like, I was right there too. Like, I got that same email right before we got live and I was kind of poking through. There's a couple of VR titles. There was a few... I was chuckling because Witcher is down to like $12. The Witcher 3.
At this point,
I might as well just so I can experience what you experience.
Yeah.
But with that, it's the thought of, will I get into this game?
Yeah.
Am I actually going to play it? Because my backlog is just pathetic. Like, it's ridiculous, right? And I'm finding, especially with myself, with some games like Diablo 4, like Starfield, like Elden Ring, which I'd mentioned in the last episode we recorded.
Yep.
It just feels like, and look, I don't owe anybody anything. I purchased these things. I had a great time with them. So it's not remorse. It's not like I'm holding myself to a standard necessarily. But it's also, am I just chasing a high of the purchase as opposed to the actual playing? Because what I ultimately found, and it's advice that we've given consistently on the show, which is just play the game.
Yeah.
Because all too often we'll like overthink it, be worried about some sort of commitment as opposed to just like picking up a controller and like going for it. For instance, I was playing, apropos of nothing, I was playing, oh no, let's see. I was playing this great game.
You were playing
It's
this
like
amazing game. I can't remember any of it.
It's a racing game. It's back when the first game that came out with PlayStation 2 and then 3 that had crazy collisions and car physics.
Burnout?
Burnout
Yeah.
Paradise. Burnout Paradise,
Ooh.
I think Ultimate whatever. Yeah,
Okay.
right. 360 title. Blast. Having so much fun. Again, it's so simple. Like
Yeah.
it's so naive. It's like, oh, look at you. There's no microtransactions. There's no online play. It's just a whole
You just
game
go.
package.
Yeah.
But I love that game. I love racing games. And it's one of those ones that I can stream to my device and just pick up and play
Nice.
and just kind of immediately go in. So part of me, again, was like, our seminal advice, the advice that's a constant throughout this entire show is always like, just play the game. And often when I think about that, when I go to purchase new games, is that really going to heighten my enjoyment of games as opposed to kind of like, unless I'm really excited about it, but it's really on a Steam sale, am I just chasing a purchase high as opposed to this will further my enjoyment of playing video games?
Yeah, I feel that as well. And sometimes it is like when you get the game, you play it for a little bit and you develop kind of like a guilt because you're like, I don't really like this game, but I bought it. I kind of have to give it a good shake and then set it aside. And I found that some of the games I buy or purchase are more to collect them versus actually get into them. Because I'll watch a YouTube video of it or a review, read something else, and I kind of want to have it versus playing it, which sounds weird. Like it's just maybe I'm collecting things more than I am playing them, and that's where I kind of get caught up on this wish list where I'm like, okay, maybe stop collecting. Maybe I can put the brakes on that for a little bit. And what games do I actually want to dive in that are like manageable? I think because like myself, Witcher 3 and like Fallout 4, like huge open worlds, and like I don't want to exhaust myself too much on those kind of genre of games as well.
Yeah, I can think of, it's like Ori Will o' the Wisp, for instance. Like it's a gorgeous, beautiful game, and I have it. At any point I could play, and there's always been that sort of delay in playing it, and just like, why not just play that game and have like a really fun time, but then there's like the grander things like, well, Diablo, I should maybe try to spend some time in the season, or Elite Dangerous, I haven't played that for, what I mean? Like there's this weird desire for an overarching quote unquote progress that almost prevents like tiny enjoyable experiences, right? So I think the kind of like segues nicely into all this, which is like for the new year,
right?
For myself, it's very much going to be getting out of my own way and just enabling games. I look back at this past year, as you heard from the last couple episodes we've had, dismal, like just pathetic numbers for somebody who claims to be a gaming dad. Like he barely played any games. Like I'm gonna get kicked off my podcast soon.
You were just more on the dad side versus the gaming side. That's okay.
But so at the end of the year, I'd mentioned this on the last episode. Everything in the last couple of months has kind of been setting up the new year. So like new routers in the house to enable game streaming. Steam Link set up for the first time on an iPad and iPhone. New phone, like I'm going from like an iPhone mini to an iPhone Plus.
Right.
Which is like literally double the phone size, specifically so I could better use the backbone and stream more games. I'm thinking about setting up the PlayStation streaming.
Oh wow, okay.
I got the PS4 here.
That's
and
true.
I never beat Dad of War. I never beat what's the one with the girl with the red hair?
Horizon.
I never beat Horizon. It's an amazing game. I got this whole back catalog, and I could just stream it to the phone. So pick up phone, play game, just get into it, right?
Yeah. Okay. I can understand that.
So this year is about removing any last. There's not a lot of barriers, but even still, it's just kind of like removing whatever last barriers exist and getting over my own resistance, so I can get into it and just play more games.
It will be, difficult at first, but that willpower over the year, I'll keep you in check.
Thank you very much. That's entirely what this show is going to be. It's like tell me how many games you played this week.
Yeah.
Did you have fun? You better have had fun. You yourself, like we are approaching the whole next year. We'll start with yourself, then we'll get to the kids.
Yeah.
But for you, what does Jeff's 2024 look like?
So I have said to myself, it's okay to play games on the easy difficulty level.
There we go. That's a very healthy step. This feels like a dad support group now.
It really does, because a lot of the times I'll start a game and I'll do like the normal mode. God of War is an example, right? I'll do the normal mode because I want to experience some of the tension, I guess. Like I actually have to pay attention to what I'm upgrading or what I'm doing in the level versus just kind of going through it. But then I get to a point where like I challenge myself a little too much. I kind of get worn out with, the Elden Ring and Dark Souls, where like those games are enjoyable to me, but they really set the tension, right? And going into other games where I kind of experience that tension a little bit, and I'm on the couch and I'm like, well, I don't really feel like I want to be challenged, and I end up not really playing the game or just kind of dropping it and moving on, right? So I said to myself, for next year, this coming year, know your limit, play within it. It's okay to like drop that difficulty level down, even mod it, because I think I've talked about that a little bit this past year. I'm getting more into modding, just like taking that kind of stuff out that I don't need right now in order for me to complete the game. Again, I don't want to ruin the experience for anyone that wants to experience it that specific way, but for myself, I want something that I can get into, complete, and then just be kind of chill about it. I think I'm at a point where it's I don't necessarily want all that challenge, to be honest. I want a little bit of it, a little taste, but I do not want to lose minutes of my life to go back to a previous save or something of that nature, right? Or I corner myself in like skill points. I always find skill trees now. Before I used to love them. Everything about like Final Fantasy X and like the sphere of connecting things and stuff. Now I look at skill trees, specifically Fallout 4. I'm like, nope. Like I don't want to I don't want to take my character in a direction where it's going to be even more difficult because I dumped in the wrong points, right? Or figuring out the math to make things work with my weapons better or whatever. So, difficulty down, modded my skill points, and I'm just out there having a fun time. And I think that helps, and I think going forward that will help in a lot of games for me to complete.
I think that the mods are fantastic. I remember one of my favorite mods, and I'll do this on I did it with Starfield immediately, was carry weight.
Yes.
It's like, you picked up too many cans of spoiled beef. You can't walk anymore. It's like, you know what, man? I get it, but just take that garbage somewhere else. I don't give a damn. And it was the greatest thing ever because I modded it. I could carry 1,000,000. I'm just walking through, just pick it all up. I don't need to think about it. Because eventually at some point it's like, you need to craft this or this or that so you can upgrade the weapon. It's like, do you have 16 spindles of copper? Yeah. Oh no, you only had 14. And you're like, forget this noise. Just grab anything and everything in sight and don't think about it again. And I did it first with Fallout 4 and just never looked back. It was just beautiful. Like just chef kiss.
Yeah, and I can see it.
Yeah, Elden Ring, I cheated. Elden Ring, I had put up my sponsor of the show, actually, we had, which was Plitch, which they...
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, they enable cheats, and they do so in such a way that doesn't really ruin... Like, they don't... If you run Plitch, you can't enter other people's games in Elden Ring, for instance.
Right,
so, because one of the problems would be like, okay, mod it, you throw your power through the roof to 1,000, and then you enter someone else's game and ruin their game. They actually program it specifically so you can't do this type of stuff. So, shout out to one of the sponsors we had. Well, it was amazing because it's like I got to just like storm around this world. It was gorgeous. Like I got to see everything. It just gave me a bit of a leg up. There was still a challenge. Like some of the, mid-level bosses like could still kill me.
Yeah.
But as I was getting but at every point, if it ever just got kind of bad, I'd just like crank my level a bit so I could get past them. Yeah. It's like I appreciate the get good mentality, but Dad don't got time for that. So I'd prefer not to spend an hour practicing. I'm just gonna like kind of blast through. So this might be one of the themes for us, which is just like the year of easy, the year of mods. Like let's have some fun.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'm looking forward to it because again, it just means more games completed at the end of the year. That next year's year end will be like, oh my god, look how many games from the backlog that were knocked off. Look at the AAA games that we completed. All this stuff. No achievements, but look at all the games I completed.
I got banned from Blizzard. I got banned from Steam.
Exactly.
Just lifetime bans across the board. I'm back to my old Super Nintendo. That's all I can play.
Yeah.
Now so that's for us. That's what we're looking for. Now for your kids, as you're kind of plotting out the year, you're thinking about the year that they had. Like, could you think? It's sort of a weird one to tell because like kids are just little vessels of boundless potential. So like, so who knows which paths they take? But if you had to try to come up with a path that they might chart this next year, like what do you think the next year for your kids will be? In game specifically, sorry, of course.
Yeah, for sure. With my kids, they again go in and out of phases with games and new games and these side games and Roblox and other games. And it's one of those ones where I'll always like research what the game is and then give them the go ahead and then just kind of be done, right? Step aside, let them have fun. And I kind of want to do it next year a little bit differently where they're allowed to present those new games and those side quests, let's say, of different experiences, but I also want to maybe put the effort in to join them. So again, like I said, I would sidestep and let them kind of go off on their own, but maybe I should make that added effort to go into their space of game that they're interested in and, play it with them and see how it is. And maybe, my first impression of the game is, not the greatest, right? And get in with them and have a good time that way and bond through their games versus what I think I do the other way, right? Like, oh, hey, kids, come check out this game. It's awesome. What I like. Yeah, exactly. We did all that, all those childhood years. I played with you a lot. Like, whatever you want to do, now it's Dad's time.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I'll go with it. I think, let them lead a little bit. I still want to give them that freedom. And choose their own path and their own interests, and then I can meet them in those games.
Amazing. So. Yeah, that's a really good one. I think I found myself a little bit last year trying that. It's hard with. I'll say this. It's hard with Roblox.
It is.
As much as you just said that.
Yeah.
Forget Roblox. It is so janky from an adult perspective.
Yeah,
I find it really like even some streamers I've found that I like, they started to get into Roblox and it's just hard to watch. Even as entertaining and fascinating as they are, like it's just like I really dislike these games. I don't know what it is. I appreciate it. I'm happy my kids like it, and I sort of have come to respect the marketplace that it is. But it's just the thought that I'm gonna sit down and play Roblox with them. It's just I can't necessarily do it. But besides that, I would like to see, really carve out, make sure I'm waking up on the weekends and carving out that specific amount of time. That's like, no, let's enjoy this together. Let's do this. And I think for me though, the challenge will be is that, because of where they're at right now, where, there's still no games during the week and it's only on the weekend. So their weekend is fairly sacred. Right. So, and the game that they're all about right now is Roblox. So to say to them like, hey, kids, come play this instead, I don't think that's going to be taken up right away.
Probably not. But it's probably not going to go over well.
It kind of blends into what I would be curious about is if I can get my older son into something a bit more like my game. It's almost like the reverse of you.
Yeah.
You had gotten them into your games, and now you're like, you know what? No, I'm going to go back and meet them where they are. And I'm saying, no, they're going to meet me where I am.
Hey, welcome past Jeff. Meet me next year, everyone.
and the one I think about is Torchlight, for instance.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we had done Dungeon Crawler Mini as far as Minecraft Dungeons.
Yes.
Which is an excellent game, but it ultimately it airs a bit too much on that like kind of cartoony Minecraft world. Right. As opposed to something that's a bit more craft is the wrong word. Bespoke like a Torchlight, right? Yeah. So I'm kind of curious if I could get him into that loop, and that's like ends up being like our little like every weekend, like we spend that 2 hours kind of like grinding away on it together to go across. My one challenge would be I don't know that my youngest would would have necessarily like the wherewithal to kind of participate meaningfully in it.
Right. Yeah.
So that is the one other thing. I don't know. Have you generally found that like because they're both now older, they've passed the threshold and they can both easy participate in your game? Like you're all kind of at the quote unquote same level.
Oh yeah, and my youngest will push like almost sometimes they're the number one player. Do you know what I mean? Like, so those skill sets kind of even out at a certain age where, depending on your effort level,
yeah,
you can really push past your own age. So,
okay, because that's where we haven't quite. That'll be the one. I think this year might be too early for it. For that reason, is that because I could do it, but probably with my oldest, not my youngest, and then that creates this weird imbalance where it's like, let's play game, kids, not you.
Right? Yeah, I get you.
So, however, though, I think it'd be more glomming onto yours to say, meet them where they are, like play, like make that additional effort this year to play with them in their games, except for Roblox.
See, now that we're talking about it, just as a side note, and I think I've said this before, we might have done like the year ahead another year, but I wanted to get my kids into Final Fantasy 14. Like I wanted an MMO. I wanted them in the world where we could all wave to each other. And this other avatar, right?
Do a raid.
PCs. Yeah. And I thought that
fascinating.
The teamwork there, and then they could play by themselves within that world as well, right? And then come back and maybe they've jumped 20 levels and old dad is
they can carry weak old dad here.
Yeah. But I thought that would always be cool. I just don't know if they're really there for that kind of. Because it's not boring, but it can be much like reading a book, right? Instead of watching a movie, if that makes sense, right? Like you do have to kind of experience the world and pay attention. But I always thought that would be a cool one. So maybe, I'll plant the seed and then see if they come around and it's their idea, not mine.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool? Yeah. Like pay one of their friends pay one of their friends like $5 to mention it a bunch. Like, hey, listen, I just need you to here's a crisp 5.
Santa's gonna come back. He's like, Santa gave me a Final Fantasy 14 pass. That is amazing.
So cool. One last one for myself would be, so what happened this year was, again, we had experimented with a little bit of gaming after schools. I had mentioned this in the last episode, and that was taken away because school performance dipped. And then they asked about it. It's like, but I just want to play games every day. Then I'm like, fine, get all of your grades up. If all your grades are through the roof and your teacher's like really happy with performance and you've done all your homework, like I don't care. At that point, do whatever you please. Like if you're performing at a high level with like academically, the world's your oyster. We'll do whatever you please. But right now, like what you've shown is that you'll come home and that's like your only focus, and homework in school suffers. So I don't want to say carrot. That's in the wrong way, but it's sort of kind of laid this expectation that if you want to get back to that place where you're playing games more often, you've got to take care of your responsibilities first. And until we see that, like there's going to be that imbalance. And I'm curious how he has butted up against that a bit, where the desire is there. He's like, like I want to do good in school, my teacher to like me so I can get games, but also I don't like school. I don't like doing this. So you got these two warring factions, and I'm curious how that'll play out in the next year.
Yeah, no, I can. Well, again, future Jeff being in the future, we have had that where we didn't take away games, but there was definitely limits on them, right? And they've been doing well in school, so that's not the carrot for my kids. It's the cleaning up for supper, right? They have to do their chores, they have to put away their stuff, they have to make sure their bedroom's clean. And if we have to pop out to get teachers gifts or stuff, they have to stop their games and come and do that task. That's where the pushback is. They don't want to because they're in a game, right? And dad knows what type of games these are.
I'm in a match.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, you're not losing any leaderboard position or anything. Like, you just don't want to go and do this thing. So if that's becoming a problem, we need to stop.
And I just love that you can ask the intelligent questions. But I'm in a match. Did you just when did you start this match? Yeah. Like I just started it? No.
Is it a time match? Is it the point match? Like, who are you playing with?
How long have you it's like, it's like, we're almost done. It's like, all right, you got like 5.
And I have all the apps too, right? So I have them on my Steam chat. So I'm like, well, it says here you're not playing that game. You're playing this game. Like,
wow. This sleuthing. It's like, oh, I hate being my dad's friend on Steam.
See?
Yeah. So I'll be curious to see where it goes. I don't want to. What's good too is like I've been able to lay out the case because it's like, guys, like for me myself, it's like if I have work to do, if I didn't get my work done during the day, I have to do it at night. And I don't get to play. Like it's not just a parent and kid power dynamic. This is just life. You don't take care of your responsibilities. You don't get to experience the joys. You know, like there's a great quote from like a power lifter. It's like, difficult choices, easy life. Easy choices, difficult life. Right? And it's like you've got to take care of it. And if you do, your time's your own. We can do whatever you please. So I'll be curious to see where it plays out. It'll be that push and pull of like, how much do you hate school versus how much do you love gaming?
That's right. Yeah,
what wins? Does love triumph hate in this case or not?
Looking forward to next year's report card, just like from yourself, not from their actual school report cards. But that kind of goes together.
What I should do is really take a couple screenshots of like my year in gaming from last year and compare it to this one that's coming. Because us as the eternal optimists of how everything's going to keep getting better, as we say, I'd like to think my next year game review is going to be much more shining.
A great report card from Trevor.
There, we did it. You can stay on the podcast. Congratulations.
That's right.
Next week it's just Jeff. Listen, we're holding auditions. Are you a dad? Do you like gaming?
Please reach out.
How's your poetry? Just like
yeah. We'll start with like guest spots and then just slowly work them in.
Work them in and me out.
Yeah.
Hey, probably not going to happen. We're going to hopefully stick around for a year. We'll end it up there for the year. Once again, guys, we cannot end this episode, especially hopping into a new year, without one more thank you. Everybody that has listened, everybody who's written in, anybody with a nice word to say, like Jeff and I cannot thank you enough. It means the absolute world to us. Again, we're just a couple normal gaming dads putting together a show here to catalog our gaming journey, and having you guys with us, other gaming dads, means the absolute world to us. So thank you so much. I think you'd mimic that, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will give shout outs to the ones that reach out and look out for us. They're sending us the games, they're sending us the demos, the beta tests, all that stuff. Right. It's very much appreciated that we are, sometimes top of mind and that we can connect outside in the Twitter sphere, thread sphere, social sphere, and just keep that, again, that conversation going. So again, thank you.
It was a great year, and it's going to be an even better year next year. So stick around. Can't wait to see you there. So if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can find us at our website, newdadgaming.com, or at newdadgaming on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, all the other socials. If you want to follow us on Twitch at New Dad Gaming Podcast. I've been trying to stream on Fridays. Probably won't over the holidays, but we'll be continuing that and having a great time. I'd love to hear from you with any other questions. If you do like the show, find us on all your podcasting networks, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Caster, anywhere where you get your podcast. Just search for New Dad Gaming. Everyone, thank you once more. Here's to an amazing year we're all going to have. And until next time, my name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Just remember, just because he became a dad
does not mean it's game over.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody.
See you in 2024.